Hey, Langy.
It's good.
What's it? I'm wondering for you, what's it like to be out there without your brother? And when was the last time that happened?
Last time we weren't on the same team was in 8th grade. 9th through 12th grade, we were on the same team all the way up until his senior year of college. It's a little different for sure, but same mission. He knows what it is. He keep telling me to work hard and all that. So keep going.
Tracy.
Hey, Langy, how you doing, man?
Good, yourself?
Good. I got a few questions for you. I'm going to try to get them all in at one time. You got to be one of the veterans at linebacker at this point. What position exactly are you playing in the new 4-2-5? How does senior leadership, how are you doing with that? You got a lot of young guys. Are you mentoring those guys? Who else is at your position? Have you taken any of those guys under your wing?
I've been playing Will. I've been working at Will, but I do know Mike. I've been learning Mike as well. As far as leadership goes, I kind of took on a bigger role in that aspect since all the older guys left last year. Like, for instance, Chris Barnes, my brother, Tyree, like all those guys left. So we had to step up this year. Me and Bo Calvert stepped up this year, taking the leadership role. We have a new guy in the linebacker room, Kane Madrano. He came from receiver room. So that's kind of who I've been taking under my wing, trying to show him the ropes, teach him the defense and things like that. But yeah, that's how it's been going so far, first couple of days of camp.
Tracy, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, sure. How do your responsibilities change at that position under the 4-2-5 under a new scheme?
That don't really change that much. It's pretty much the same thing for both sides. You just got to know the difference.
Let's go to Rick.
Hi, how you doing, man?
Good, how you doing?
Outstanding, thank you. Talk to us about Kane Madrano and how is he looking at his new position?
He looks like a natural. From what it looks like to me, it looks like he played both sides of the ball in high school because he doesn't just look like a receiver guy. He's out there flying around, making things happen. So it's pretty exciting to see and just need him to keep learning and growing, and then he'll turn into a force over there.
Let's go back to Ben.
I wanted to follow up on going on without your brother for 1 second. I know you guys had that special language you shared with him, and he talked about the word "goys." So you had to bid him "goys," right?
Yeah, exactly. But the words was "goys" and all that stuff is still very prevalent in this team right now. You know, still got all the guys out here talking about what's "goys" and all that kind of stuff. So it's fun. It's still funny to see that the language is still sticking around while all the guys left that really brought it here.
Who are you living with now?
Oh, I live by myself right now. I stay in a little studio apartment by myself, out the way, really social distancing. The only time I'm outside is when I'm at this football building.
And with the 4-2-5, does the number of linebackers you guys have on the field at any time vary, or is it constant?
For the most part, it could vary, but for the most part, it's constant with the two.
Okay.
Let's go to Mike Regalado.
Hey, good morning. I just wanted to ask you about some of the younger guys. Obviously, you had a lot of seniors leave the team, and that was replaced by younger guys. Who's standing out to you, and who do you think is going to make an impact, this season?
Honestly, I would probably say Kane Madrano. I still consider him one of the younger guys because it's his first year playing linebacker, but he's been making the most strides in my eyes.
Let's go back to Tracy.
Hey, you seemed a little slightly nicked up in spring. How are you feeling? Are you full go? What are you height and weight now? Like, how much do you weigh? Are you running with the ones at this point? And I can't see lower, but are you guys still in pads and shorts?
First day today with the shells on. So the shorts on the bottom. I've been rotating with both ones and twos. And what was the other question?
How are you feeling? How big are you, height and weight, and how are you feeling? Because you look like you were nicked up a little in spring.
Oh yeah, in the spring I missed the first couple of practices because of a turf toe incident that happened outside of the football building. It happened at home. I just fell. But Yeah, I had the turf toe in spring ball. It's all 100% good right now. And as far as height and weight, I'm about 6'1", 6'2", 220, around 220, in between 220, 225.
Let's go back to Rick.
Besides Kane Medrano, any of the new, you got a lot of youth at the position. Anybody
Yeah.
standing out as well?
Jeremiah, Jokari works hard too. Yeah, Jeremiah and Jokari, they've been working. Jeremiah Trojan, yep.
Let's go back to Ben.
We're doing something on sports and politics, and I'm wondering if you guys have been discussing the upcoming election, and if there's any sort of consensus among you guys, or is everybody all over the place? Are you guys talking about it at all?
Everybody's pushing us to vote, but can't nobody tell us, nobody's telling us who to vote for or none of that. It's like, go do your own research. They're just encouraging us to register to vote and vote because this is a big election coming up. But
You guys had that
just leave the politics where the politics are at. And we've had people talk to us about voting and how important voting is and all that kind of stuff. So that's just as far as we've taken the politics aspect.
You guys had the voting matters initiative with Martin Jarmon. Did you like that? Did that help?
Yeah, it was very informative. Me personally, I've never been real big into politics, so I didn't really know nothing about it. Just that's what my grandparents have told me over the years, and they've been telling me to get registered to vote forever now. So they just gave me more insight on what's going on. I still got to do my own research before I pick and choose who I'm gonna vote for, though.
Last question on that. You guys are actually going to get that Tuesday is going to be a day off from practice, but because the NCAA is making that a rule now, and that's the first week of going into your season opener. Has Coach Kelly talked about how he's going to handle that? Maybe change the practice schedule?
That's news to me. I haven't heard nothing about that. So, yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
All right, last couple questions. Let's go back to Tracy.
Hey there, you were mentioning some guys that are at your position. The guy who came in, he was in at spring. He was a JC transfer, Caleb Johnson. Is he at that will spot?
Oh, yeah, Caleb Johnson's been doing real good as well. When y'all asked about the young guys, I didn't really consider him a young guy because he came in and got right on schedule with us. Like, he didn't have no drop off. He's been doing good ever since he first got here.
And Kenny Messador, is he at the mic?
Kenny Messador's at the wheel as well.
Oh, he's at the well as well. Okay, who's at the mic right now?
We got Bo, Jeremiah, myself, and that's pretty much all. Adam Cohen. Yeah, because I've been going back and forth doing both of them.
Got it. Thanks.
All right, one more. Actually, Rick, did you have another question?
What is it going to take, Lenny, for your team to defensively step it up and become more of a dominating unit that can win games for UCLA?
We just got to play fast, play hard, play together, and don't let up. Everybody work as one and make it happen.
All right, let's go last question to Ben.
Sorry, I may have missed this. Did you mention Damian Sellers? How's he looking?
Damian Sellers is playing outside backer, and he's looking pretty good. He's been doing his thing out here.
All right, thank you, Lenny.
No problem. You guys have a good one.
Hey, Bo, how are you?
Good, Ben. How you doing?
Excellent, thank you. I'm wondering if you could give us kind of like a primer on how the linebackers operate in the 4-2-5 and whether the roles change at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty early in camp. Been rotating a lot of guys. I think the biggest thing that I've seen that's reassuring is just how we're flying around a lot out there. Able to have a lot of guys in space and had some new additions on the back end. Talk about Obi and Q Knight coming in, big energy guys. So being able to play off of those guys and getting those guys locked in. And, I remember we were talking earlier in the spring about, the transition of having guys come in, and we were talking about, the verbiage and what it's like coming into a new program. So I think those newer guys, Caleb You've seen him come in and pick up the verbiage really well. Obi, obviously a really smart guy, coming in from Stanford, and now he's pursuing a law degree here. So, speaks for himself. He's on top of his stuff. He knows his stuff. But I've been really impressed with how quickly we've been able to turn around and get those guys, on par and be able to just fly around and have a really, mobile defense and be able to fly. So I think that's the thing that I've been most impressed with so far.
You guys are replacing essentially everybody at linebacker as far as the starters. What's the confidence level that you guys cannot have a drop off there and maybe even, do better than last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is my third year in the defense, so I'm feeling really comfortable. Also had Leni Toailoa coming back, his third year in this defense as well. So those are, the two guys who have the most experience. And then you have Caleb, who's been here since spring, so he already knows the majority of the defense as well. So, yeah, I mean, Coach Pelham is always on top of his game of giving us, the pointers and, the nuances of the defenses. So, for the most part, I feel pretty confident. Like I said, a lot of it's just working off of other guys at different positions at this point and understanding, how guys see things, how you want to cover things, stuff like that. And then Coach Az always puts us, in great situations here in fall camp. I think, moving forward in this fall camp, I would say that in a way, we've had a lot more practice as far as being able to see, the problem areas and the nuanced things in the defense and being able to get that early on, which I think is a big upper hand that we've had moving forward.
Rick, go ahead.
Hi, Bo. You talked somewhat of the new guys. Tell us about some of the guys that just showed up in June, the Damian Sellers, those guys. How are they doing? How are they picking up the defense? And what do you guys got to do collectively as a defense to take it to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys already mentioned on the back end, a lot of guys are new. Up on the front, the newer guys are coming from, sort of those edge outside backer positions. So Mitchell Aguda, he came in the spring, and obviously he's sort of the veteran guy in that room. You have Shea Pitts also, that's been here, and he's played in some of that outside position last year. You saw him against SC. So those guys are kind of guiding the way for those guys. Up on the front, you're talking about Damian Sellers, obviously a new guy coming up front. You got Miles Jackson coming up, and he came in spring as well. And then you got Sitiveni Kafusi coming up. He's been in the program the last couple of years, but he's recently changed positioned over here on defense, coming back from an injury last year. So yeah, a lot of new faces, but a lot of guys, like I said, have locked on really quickly and have been able to, shorten the verbiage that we've been trying to say and getting guys just flying around. I think that's the biggest thing. In our defense, you see a lot of lighter guys that can move really quickly. And that's the sort of thing that we want to see, is that guys are just, hustling around. And I think guys get it at this point. We haven't had many problems with guys, getting out here early, or guys, having problems, with staying late after practice, working on things. Everybody has been on top of their stuff. And so I think that's a big change I've seen from years prior.
Mike?
Morning, Bo. Going back to the 4-2-5 scheme, how have you adjusted to it? And even though it's early, what positives have you seen in with the 4-2-5, with the run defense and the pass defense?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff we're running is pretty similar. To be honest, on the back end, more of the stuff that we've been doing is kind of just trying to communicate with these guys up front, getting to the D line and having them, have their ears up and understanding that, they got to listen to the backers as far as the different checks and stuff. And, that's the same in every defense, but those guys are new. So that's a new thing. In high school, maybe you have one or two checks. You got to cover three, and then maybe you're running a trap cover three, maybe moving the corners. And that's really all that changes. But, you get into college and the NFL, you got guys running different type of zones and different type of mans, that things change on motion. So D-line usually isn't used to hearing different checks in high school. So I think some of the younger guys that's been sort of the transition for them of understanding, when a quarterback or different type of situations that we're in and what we're going to check into, and getting those patterns down and all those different things. But, Osa, I think, has been a big leader in that. Obviously, he's a veteran guy, and you have Ottawa too in there, being able to communicate up front. So, I think you've heard from me so far, the theme so far has just been communication and being able to get that out quickly and having guys hear a word and move, and so I think that's the biggest thing we've had, and it's been really positive.
Let's go back to Ben.
You missed a lot of last year, and then it looked like, for a while there wasn't going to be a fall season. Has that increased your level of excitement or hunger to actually get out there and play next month?
Yeah, I've been really focused on this year, obviously with the things that have gone on in the past. And, obviously your junior year is a big year. Either way, your third year in the program, is big for anybody. So I've been working, pretty hard, just like everybody else in the program, and, guys around the nation have been working hard. So I think, being the type of guy that has a chip on his shoulder and, wanting to come in and really prove his name nationally, coming from high school, obviously, I was an All-American and people knew my name, and, now I got to kind of get my name back out there. That's not something I really think about too much. At this point, I'm just trying to gel with my guys, on the defense and fly around. And I think we've had a lot of energy that's come in from the defense, talking about Obi and Q Knight, and then Q Lake coming up. So, and Blaylock, and, really everybody. Once you get kind of guys that understand the defense, understand how to play, after that, it's just kind of like, energy and, guys really coming out there and fighting with an edge. So I think that's been really cool to see, as guys kind of have a little swagger to them and understand, what we're doing out there.
All right, just a couple more. Let's go to Rick.
Have you guys done any 11-11 work yet in camp?
Yeah. We're full into camp, so we're doing everything we normally do.
Who's looking good on as a running back? You being a Mike backer should have a pretty good view of who is anybody stepping up?
Obviously Felton. Felton's been a guy that's come in, and then we brought in a couple transfers outside. But we're pretty deep at the running back position. We got a lot of speed guys in Kashmir Allen, and then some bigger backs that have come in. But obviously, I think Felton is probably the guy who I'm going against every single day. On the ones that I'm seeing, that he's got something to him, that I gotta be on top of my game every time I'm going against him. And I think that's something you love to see. Me and him going back and forth at it all the time in practice, and that's a guy that makes you better. The offense is defense and offense are both in the third year of everything that we've been doing. So at this point, it's a lot of really one-on-one competitions. Once you understand everything that you're doing, there's not a lot of mental errors anymore. And now it's just getting on it and competing every day. So I think that's been huge this year in fall camp.
You have a younger brother who is just as big of a recruit as you were in high school. And UCLA is one of the final schools. Is there a decision? Do you talk to him about coming to UCLA?
Yeah, of course. The biggest thing is I don't want him to go across the street, right? To SC. But yeah, that's his decision. Obviously, I'm pushing hard for him at this point. It's coming down to the wire here. So, I have been doing a little more recruiting on that end. For the most part, I kind of let him, choose what he wanted. And, it's been his choice to come down to these, final 3-4 schools, whatever that he's chose. So yeah, it is kind of getting game time now, trying to get him here, but just hopefully he doesn't go across the street.
Let's go last question to Ben.
But we're doing something on sports and politics, and I'm wondering how big of a conversation piece has the upcoming election been in the locker room? You guys talked about it. Is there any debating? Is it kind of a friendly dialogue? How's that kind of gone?
Yeah, I think UCLA and Coach Kelly and, Martin Jamard, the new athletic director here, have all been really great. We have a Voting Matters initiative that's been pushed forward. So getting, as many guys as we can, if not all, to be eligible to vote. We have some guys, believe it or not, who are 17 on the team, so they won't be able to vote no matter what happens. But every guy who's eligible at this point, for the most part, I think we have at least 90%, if not more, that overall on the team who are registered at the very least, and then getting guys out to the polls and, you know, getting them out to mail in ballots, whatnot. I've had several meetings, even since quarantine, just about, you know, getting yourself registered. And, you know, I think it's interesting, you guys growing up, talk about the maturation process from high school to college, and, you know, getting those guys into a program and be serious about that. And a lot of that is being serious about your outside life as well. You know, what are you doing for the community, and then how you're contributing. And I think voting is obviously a huge contribution you can make, and your, you know, obligation, your right to do that. So we've had a lot of guys register, and, you know, hopefully we'll see them out in the polls coming up.
What about guys talking about who they're going to vote for? Has there been any kind of discourse about that, or trash talking?
I don't think there's any trash talk. You know, I mean, for the most part, obviously there's politics and everything that you're doing, right? And, you know, guys see things in different ways. But I think the beautiful thing about sports is that a lot of that goes out of the window for the most part when you're out on the field, right? So guys have obviously, you know, when you're in the locker room and you're back home, sure, you have different views on things. Guys are watching the debates and, you know, have different points and have debates of our own. But I think one of the coolest things, you know, when you step into the field inside those white lines, a lot of that stuff fades away, you know, race and political views and, you know, the issues that we deal with in this country and around the world really faded away. And I think that's the most beautiful thing that I've seen in sports and football specifically, is that, you know, you just go out there, compete, and the best guy is going to get the job. And, you know, the guys who are around you are your brothers. And if you're on the sideline, you know, you're my guy too. And you're pointing out things that you see and you're helping me out. So, you know, that's kind of nice being able to have that, and trying to get that to, you know, venture outside of the white lines of football that we've seen here, and trying to get that into the real world, I think, is one of the things we're pushing for.
All right. Thank you, Bo.
Yeah, of course.